as we start these things. Like, as an event organizer, we should share what you're getting into. Again, I want to be fair to the Legends people because I don't know all that is involved in this. I have been involved in an event, Can West. We programmed that year where there was prize money published and they didn't meet the mark, and it was a disaster. And then they tried to sell the next event to pay the last event. I don't see that's what's going on here. I think that this problem is solved with more regulation. And when I say that, I just mean as CrossFit puts their mark on these events, I think these are things we'll learn that they're going to need to at least have some confirmation. Maybe the PFAA can get involved in ways like this to assure. Maybe there's escrow that has to be built around events so that there's guaranteed that these prize purses are paid. And expectations are clear on the forefront. But I think without knowing enough about the details here, it seems like the response from the Masters athletes is, for the most part, positive on this. That they're really grateful that they have a platform to compete on, and that this isn't much different than years past. It was sort of a post event distribution. If they got money, it was because of what was left over. But yeah, I really believe that if you're going to be in the event business and especially at the elite level, expect people that this is their living to come and participate. We need to tell them what they're doing, what they're coming for, and what's involved and what they can earn.
2 points for Matt O'Keefe. Justin Kotler, let's hear from you. We normally wait to have you until last, but I figure I'll let you speak a little earlier today.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
This is obviously a sensitive subject after Can West. The difference here obviously is that prizes weren't announced prior to. In Can West, you could say should competitions be required to announce prize purses? They did. They announced them. Yeah. They just didn't pay them. So I think at the end of the day, unfortunately, where we are in the sport, especially in the age group divisions, ticket sales, sponsors, etc. It's just not going to be the same as it will be at the elite level. And I think if you announce prize purses, unless you've got a guarantee, obviously from sponsors, and you've got a guarantee from ticket sales, etc., I think you put yourself in hot water. So honestly, I think the fact that they didn't announce, they've kind of saved themselves from from ill repute, essentially, by everyone. But ultimately, I do agree with Matt. I think we've got to start doing a little bit better about announcing prize purses or even having prize purses. I'm still irate about certain parts of the season, like the fact that, with the elite competition, quarterfinals isn't getting paid. That's crazy. There should be no, you're talking about the best in the world. And if you've got the best masters in the world, we've got to find a way to at least have something to give them. So ultimately, that's the way I feel about it is in the future, I think it's going to be really important for us to be able to provide prizes and then obviously prior to be able to announce those and then stay true to it.
So would it be better to maybe have some competitions that do not have prize purses if they have additional funds, save that for potential future years to offer eventually a bigger prize purse?
Well, I still think it's about transparency though, because ultimately if you say, we don't know whether we're going to have a prize purse or not, that may sway some athletes' decision to compete or not, right? Now, obviously, there may be some that just love to compete and they don't care. But I do think that transparency when it comes to prize purses is very, very important. And honestly, in this case, it seems like they were transparent about the fact that they didn't know whether they'd be able to provide a prize or not. So ultimately, it's okay. Well, in the past, yes, maybe we have. We don't know if we will. And it's up to the athlete to make the decision and take the chance to compete. Maybe you get a prize, maybe you don't. So ultimately, I think it's all about transparency.
4 points for Kotler. Jason, let's hear from you.
I mean, I'd love to say no just to bring some balance, but I'm going to say yes, although I'm not sure who regulates this because, would this be a licensed event thing that's a requirement? Because otherwise, there's a lot of events out there. How do we guarantee it? But I think as you should give the athletes as much information as possible in advance so they can make an informed decision about whether or not they want to attend a competition. And one of the elements is whether or not there's a prize purse. And I think if you're open and honest, even if there's not a prize purse, but you're guaranteeing, you're going to have a great event, we're going to look after you, but there's no prize. Well, if athletes want to go and do that, they can go and do that, but they knew ahead of time that there wasn't going to be any money. Even if, like in this situation where maybe there will be a prize purse, just say that. Say, look, you're going to come, you're going to have a great time, we're going to look after you, we'll give you some goodies, and hey, if some other sponsors come through or we sell enough tickets or whatever it is, then we can potentially also offer a prize purse. That's great, but everyone involved knows ahead of time what they're getting into. And I think with the nature of how expensive it is to go to events to participate, that is a factor. If you're trying to use it as a draw to, why should I go to this event over that event or a bigger prize purse, then absolutely you should announce it. And yes, sometimes people announce prize purses and it doesn't pay out, and they should be held accountable, I guess, because then, hopefully those things won't happen again.
3 points
Hard
for
to hold them
Jason.
accountable.
That has been the issue in the past.
We need to have not to
go into Chase's time.
Totally
Chase
interrupt.
gets some time. We need some modeling here. Like I think what the evolution is CrossFit and others that this will go back to Kotler's automatic discussion of season structure, point systems, all that stuff, which is exactly where as we get more organized. We can start to really support these businesses. First of all, there can be a minimum standard for prize pursing an event. If it's an elite event, you can come up with all these different levers in that, and we can actually help, these event organizers model their business, build benchmarking, figure out if the indicator for prize money is the gate, hey, maybe we share a percentage of the ticket sales or sponsor sales. There's ways to go about this. I think across the board that standardizes it, and it builds a formula for success so that these guys have sustainable businesses forward. But there has to be accountability. That's why I said escrow. If we force people to put this money that's prize pursed into an escrow account ahead, we won't have these problems.
What the hell are we doing right now?
Wait 1 second before you say anything. Is it just me, or is it the way that O'Keefe has the camera angled? He looks like the great and powerful Oz. He's just like, he's up in the air, he's floating. Seriously, he's very majestic today. You're very majestic today.
So majestic.
Let's
Okay.
ask everybody a question and then a follow-up question before we get to the last guy.
I mean,
who hasn't
Chase,
gotten-
listen.
This is what always happens to me.
You have
I
a
still won
double
5 times.
question
You can deal
every
with it,
question.
all right?
We know we're set.
The
Hey,
amount
listen,
of
I'm gonna get a
insecurity
coffee.
with you guys is unbelievable.
Getting a coffee
So
for your
afraid
5-minute
for me to
answer.
talk.
Go ahead.
All right, just copy what I say. Get it over with.
Okay, Chase, you can have the table. It is your turn.
Gosh. All right. If they're going, should they announce it? Yes. Unequivocally, it should be yes. But I think there is a way to do this because we've said ways to regulate that. If you're going to be a CrossFit license event, then there needs to be a tiered structure of what those payouts should be. A tier 1, a tier 2, a tier 3, and make it a range. And O'Keefe was right. He was 100% correct. It's like, you got to set some parameters there. Hey, if you're going to be a generic CrossFit licensed event, then there should be a pay structure in there. Same for a level 2 and same for a level 1. Put the range in there or set a minimum. But the other thing you got to think about is that you have to make sure is that you are being financially responsible as a competition. There is so much money wasted on venues, equipment, live streams, and all this other stuff that either is completely unnecessary for the sake of the show and at the neglect of the athletes. And I think we've no better example that we've seen that in Canada West, and I think it was another European competition that the same thing happened, is that we need to make sure is that we're doing a better job putting on a competition than putting on a show. And the reason for the competition is that it gives the athletes a platform to compete, and if there's a prize purse, it gives them an opportunity to make money. As far as the Legends Championships, my only concern is that we're looking at this event as being the host of a CrossFit Games finale for the age grouper or for the Masters division, and setting guidelines like, Keith said, is that here's the minimum, here's how you do it, here's how you set up a venue. Not going for flash and more quality of a style event. I want to see more of that and less of just bells and whistles.
So I want to go back to your thought about if it's a CrossFit licensed event, there should be a tiered system for prize purses. Would any of that financial burden, I guess, if you will, fall on CrossFit, or is that still just for the competition, the event?
It's for the competition, because it's just like you purchase to say you're a like Wadapalooza can't say they're a CrossFit event. They're not a CrossFit license event. They can't use the word CrossFit. Neither can Rogue, neither can Dubai, neither can Legends, right? You cannot use that unless you buy the name. It's just like being an affiliate. You pay to use the name CrossFit, to put that stamp on your gym, to put that stamp on your competition. And so if you're going to buy into this because that is supposed to be a draw or a bonus for your competition, then put in those parameters, make it worth the while, right? So if you're going to be a tier 1 licensed CrossFit event that all the big names want to go to, well, you have to have X, Y, and Z to be that licensed event. Same for tier 2, same for tier 3. But if we're talking off season, there's Matter or Justin had talked about, this is where the PFAA can come in. Hey, if you're going to be giving out this type of event, or you must make these announcements, you must have these minimums. I think the PFAA's best position to be in, and I said this on a later episode or an earlier one, is that they have to dig their roots in the off-season competitions. And they're doing that with Wadapalooza this year.
Okay, 3 points for Chase. Whoa, bringing Chase back. Did you have a secondary thought?
Nope, I don't need one.
I mean, a third dairy.
A third dairy?
Third dairy.
I mean, can I just ask you a question here, Lauren? So,
Yeah, go for it.
his whole point was referencing people that made the point earlier, and he gets more points than everyone else. I mean, your fingers must be broken over there. You need to hit
Sometimes there is carryover, O'Keefe, and you have benefited from that before. Let me point
Yes,
out.
I have, yeah. Apologies. Hold on, I'll just, yeah.
Are you raising your hand, Cutler? Oh no, he's just
Oh
like
no, I'm stretching. Getting
round
ready for
one.
point number 2. I gotta get limber.
Gotta get limber. Okay, let's move into round number 2. With the new year comes new goals, resolutions. Many of them involve hitting the gym and even cleaning up our nutrition. Now, to maximize this, some affiliates will host a New Year's nutrition challenge. Do we love it? Do we hate it? And is this a money grab or actually implementing positive habits for members? Chase, I'll let you start this round.
Oh, I'm so sick of the money grab phrase. It's like, I'm not able to
You don't like
financially gain. No, it's ridiculous. Like, a money grab is legitimately asking for money and giving nothing in return. That is the definition of money grab.
Agreed.
Excuse me for coming to on the 1st of January and saying it's time to get back in the gym and it's time to focus on nutrition. 2 things that'll absolutely unequivocally change your life forever. Excuse me for wanting to charge a little bit more for the service of which I provide for you. It's absolutely ridiculous of a concept. It's like, all right, let's just give away personal training for free. Is that a money grab? I'm going to focus more attention on to get you better and to change your life? No. These coaches, these gyms, and anybody in the space needs to benefit from this financially, because this isn't a charity. This isn't a nonprofit. And so to set up a path of success in the very beginning, when everybody is open and willing to change their lives, new year, new you, whatever, New Year's resolution, it's the perfect time to support these members and to get them on the right track. It's absolutely a wonderful thing to do, and I'm sick of the money grab talk.
Nice.
Chase is over there flipping his hair. New
It's
year,
been a
new
little
him.
long though, let's be honest.
Fired up. I got fired up about that one. That's good.
I love the passion behind that answer. I'm going to save all my follow-ups for this round so that nobody is over here whining and complaining. I'm going to save all of them, not just yours, Chase. All of them, and we will come back and have a
That's
discussion. I'm going to give you 4 points for the passion behind that answer, and because you are so set on the way to the answer for this topic. We'll get back to that. Jason, you're next.
I mean, I can't be as passionate as Chase probably about anything, but I don't think it's a money grab. I think it's well intentioned, And I think there are going to be people, members of, in an ideal world, all CrossFit affiliates will be teaching their members about nutrition throughout the year and good habits that will benefit them throughout the year. But there will be a section of people that probably only listen in January when it's, a New Year's resolution. So I think it's good that you can capitalize on that, this is a time they may be more responsive. So let's try and hit your nutrition now. The fear with a challenge is it depends in what format that challenge takes. Because if you are kind of incentivizing, there's a prize for those that do the best, then you're not necessarily teaching people good habits because they're probably going to go to extremes to win. And then at the end of the challenge, once they've succeeded, it will be unsustainable to continue through the rest of the year like this. And they might not be in a position to kind of go back a little bit to a more balanced, nutritional plan. So they might just go straight back to how they were before the year started. So I think it's well intentioned and there are good elements to it, but the kind of concept of it being a challenge in itself can also cause problems.
You already answered my follow-up question that I didn't even ask. 4 points for Jason. Justin Kotler, what are your thoughts?
So I have a little bit of history with this. We ran several of these types of challenges at Dynamics when I owned the affiliate. And, I really think it depends.